Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for August 5th. August 5th is the 217th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 218th in leap years, with 148 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is jejune. Jejune is an adjective that means inadequate to nourish the body or relieve hunger, as in the jejune diets of the very poor. Another definition for jejune is devoid of interest or significance, dull, flat, vapid, such as jejune and platitudinous lectures. Or it can mean giving evidence of lack of experience or information, like a certain young lady I met one time, and her jejune assertion that all chicken eggs were initially brown and that the white ones in the store had been bleached. That was an actual conversation I had. I knew she didn't know any better, though, and invited her out to the chicken house to collect eggs with me, and pointed out that some chickens lay brown eggs, some chickens actually do lay white eggs, and the eggs processed for commercial sale may indeed be bleached. I don't know, but if you're getting white eggs at the store, they actually came from a breed of chicken that lays white eggs. No activism necessary this time. We also had chickens that laid pale green eggs back then. I miss having chickens. Back to today's word, though. Jejune can also mean immature or juvenile. So it sounds like jejune basically means unsatisfying. The word jejune comes to us from a Latin word that meant empty. First known use of the word jejune appears to be in the 1610s. Jejune. Today's word jejune was suggested by one of my YouTube viewers. Thanks, Teresa. And if you have a word you'd like to see in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. We'll get it on the list. And with that, Henry I was crowned King of England in Westminster Abbey on August 5th, 1100. On August 5th, 1583, Sir Humphrey Gilbert established the first English colony in North America, in what is now St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. In 1733, a man named John Peter Zenger started a paper called the New York Weekly Journal. In this paper, he published opinions critical of the colonial governor, William Cosby. Cosby didn't like this very much and had Zenger arrested and charged with seditious libel. On August 5th, 1735, the New York Weekly Journal writer John Peter Zenger was acquitted of seditious libel against the royal governor of New York when it was found that what he had published was actually true, making Zenger an early symbol of freedom of the press. On August 5th, 1888, Carl Benz's wife Bertha drove from Mannheim to Forsham and back in the first long-distance automobile trip. That's about 121 miles round trip, 194 kilometers for my metric friends. And she didn't tell Carl she was going to do this. He probably would have tried to talk her out of it. She took her two sons, ages 14 and 15, with her, and gosh, what an adventure that must have been for them. Now, why would she do this, take that motor wagon on such a long trip, without telling her husband? Well, ostensibly it was to visit her mother. But she also wanted to demonstrate to her husband that automobiles could be useful and that they could be a financial success, that they could be useful to lots of people and that people would actually buy these things. She met with several challenges along the way. She had some mechanical difficulties. She overcame all of those. She had to find the solvent that was used as a fuel, which was available at the time only through a dispensing chemist shop, what we might think of as a pharmacy. So the world's first filling station was a little pharmacy in Germany. It still exists as far as I know. I think there's a historical plaque out there denoting it as the first filling station. As I said, she had other mechanical difficulties along the way, but she successfully dealt with them, and these difficulties gave Carl some ideas about things to improve in the motor wagon, which is what they called it at the time. And she didn't actually make that entire trip in one day. I did wonder about that. 121 miles in a little car like that? No, she left at dawn from Mannheim and arrived at Forsham sometime after dusk, so it took her all day to make that trip. All day to take a trip that right now we could probably make in one of our modern automobiles on one of our modern roads in a couple of hours or so. They stayed and visited with her mother and came back about 3 days later by a slightly different route, taking a more scenic tour coming back. And that entire route up and back today is marked as the Bertha Benz Memorial Route. Go Bertha, that's pretty cool. On August 5th, 1957, a TV show called American Bandstand debuted on the ABC television network in the United States. It was hosted by the ever-youthful Dick Clark. I can hear that intro music playing in my head right now, but I'm not going to sing it. They played current popular music and let teenagers dance to it on camera. They would have some current popular music artists come in and lip-sync one of their songs. And they had a segment called Rate the Record, where Dick Clark would ask a couple of people to evaluate a new piece of music and justify their reasons for their evaluation. They'd give it a score, and this Rate the Record process is where we get the catchphrase, "It's got a good beat and you can dance to it." American Bandstand evolved over the years, of course, and it ran until about 1989. American Bandstand. Today's song is Miss You by the Rolling Stones, #1 on August 5th, 1978. It was released in May of 1978 as a single from the album Some Girls, written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. It may or may not have been conceived as a disco song, but they did come out with an extended version of it as a special disco version. In 2002, an artist known as Dr. Dre released a remix of it, and I'm pretty sure I remember Gilda Radner alluding to it as Rosanna. Miss You by the Rolling Stones, #1 on August 5th, 1978. Link in the description. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with the link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.